Hi, my name is German Taveras, and recently I made the decision to run for Kissimmee City Commissioner seat 2 to provide the residents and voters a different voice and a new direction. My vision has Kissimmee becoming one of the greatest cities that provide exceptional employment opportunity with high wages, exceptional educational opportunity for our children, and environmental beauty that the world will envy, while becoming one of the most driven economy in the state of Florida. In order for change to occur in our local politics, we need you, the residents and voters of Kissimmee and Osceola County, to elect a leader who's going to be accessible to you guys, and I am that leader.
I've always had my own style.
Yes, she definitely had style.
But in fashion merchandising at Sanford Brown, I learned how to make it a career from industry professionals like Miss Cooper, who was really supportive.
Textiles, design, marketing, we teach real fashion skills and the business of fashion.
I wanted a career in fashion, and Sanford Brown helped make it possible.
Get started on your future career in fashion at Sanford Brown College. Call 877-751-9111 now for your Career Builder Career Guide. That's 877-751-9111.
Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic SpeakOut TV, brought to you for the past 14 years on Bright House Cable Networks. We're here every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m., and our guest today is Charlie Crist, who's running for governor of the state of Florida. Charlie, welcome.
Good to be with you, Danny.
Hey,
thank you for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here.
It's my pleasure.
Let's really zero in so that we can just jump into some subjects. Education funding, big thing for the Hispanic community as well as all communities in Florida.
No question about it.
Okay.
Sadly, under Governor Rick Scott, education funding was cut $1.3 billion in just his first year alone. And then the second year, he cut $300 million from our state universities. One of the most important things I believe we need to do in order to improve our economy, improve job opportunities, is to support education, and support it always, not just in the election year. Support it every year, and support our hardworking public school teachers as well. One of the things I was able to do before when I was governor was make sure, even though we were in a great recession, we supported and continued to support education. And one of the ways I did that was by taking the Recovery Act money, the stimulus money, from the administration in Washington. And by doing so, we were able to save the jobs of 20,000 Florida teachers. Rick Scott said he thought that was a mistake. That's stunning. To say that, having 20,000 of our teachers out of employment, not being able to teach our children, he thinks that's a good thing, I guess. It doesn't make any sense to me. But what we have to do is have a governor and lieutenant governor again that are focused on the priorities that Floridians want us to be focused on. And that always starts with education. Mm-hmm. I'm a public school kid. I graduated from one of our state universities, Florida State. I understand it. It's important that we focus on it. We will if I get the chance to do it again.
Okay, great. One of the fears that a lot of Hispanics and minorities, including the black community, have with the legalization of marijuana or introducing marijuana into the state, even partially legal, is that it will affect kids that are on the street because they have distribution networks already there. And now that it might be quasi-legal, it just might really retard the growth of that particular community, the Hispanic and black community, and kind of devastate that community from the point of education and going forward. What's happening with marijuana with the state? What's your position on it?
I support medical marijuana, and I'll tell you why. I think it's compassionate. I think that if it is prescribed by a medical doctor, it is given to somebody that needs it to avoid pain. It's a lot smarter to me to do that than it is to use powerful drugs like Oxycontin that have a debilitating effect on so many people in our society. And so the smarter path, the better thing to do, I think, is to have medical marijuana appropriately regulated so that people who are suffering, who need it the most, can have the opportunity to utilize it. But we have to monitor it, make sure it's done right and done well.
So you are against recreational marijuana being introduced?
I am for medical marijuana. Okay. Exactly right.
Okay. Teacher stimulus bill. Bring us up to date on that.
Well, what happened, it was sort of the unstimulus bill, if you will, according to the Rick Scott budget. As I said before, he cut education funding by $1.3 billion. But Danny, it was worse than that. He actually wanted to cut it $3.3 billion. But the legislature saved him from being, completely ridiculous and cut it $1.3 billion, which was awful enough. It is impossible to have a good education system when you do not properly fund it. And defunding it by billions of dollars is exactly the wrong thing to do. It's the wrong thing for our children. It's the wrong thing for our teachers. If we get into office, what we will do is restore funding to its proper levels, make sure that it is respected as it should always be. Teaching, after all, is a profession. I understand that because 2 of my 3 sisters have been public school teachers. We'll get us back on the right path and do the right things.
Of course, Obamacare is very controversial these days, and we have the Medicaid expansion going on as a topic. Bring us up to date on that.
I will. Medicaid expansion is an extremely important issue in this race. Rick Scott failed to get Medicaid expanded. We would fight for it from day one. What that means is the fact that he's failed on it means that again today, as we sit here, about 1 million of our fellow Floridians are not getting the health care that they deserve. We would also get $51 billion over the next 10 years to Florida to help us be able to deliver that health care. That's money that Floridians have already sent to Washington that they would just have to send back to us. It's just and it's right and we should have it. Why Rick Scott won't lift a finger to get that done is beyond me. But if we get elected on November the 4th, only about 3 months away from today, we'll make a change and we'll call for a special election to make sure that we get Medicaid expansion moving forward for our fellow Floridians who need it so badly.
Another topic that is coming up and is very interesting is the high-speed rail, which is for economic development, et cetera.
Very important. I drove over to Orlando last night from St. Petersburg on I-4.
Right.
Now, there was an accident there. We were slowed down. I mean, typical traffic that you always experience on it. About a month after Rick Scott got sworn in as our new governor in 2011, he was offered high-speed rail by the administration in Washington. Would have meant about $2.5 billion right into Central Florida. Initially, it would have connected Tampa to Orlando, and then it would have gone from Orlando down to Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, and Miami. He said no. Unbelievable. Would have created about 30,000 jobs, about 10,000 of them permanent jobs. Would have created economic development all along I-4 and then down, the East Coast eventually. So it seems to me that if we make a change, have a new governor, elect Charlie Crist and Annette Taddeo as lieutenant governor, then we can go back to the administration and hopefully the economy starts to do better, more in the federal coffers, and say, can you give us a second bite at the apple? Our people need it. We deserve it. The only person who would reject having high-speed rail on I-4 is somebody who flies in his private jet all day and doesn't drive on I-4 like I do every week. That's Rick Scott.
How long will it take to get that program to actually happen, to actually have high-speed connecting Tampa and Orlando?
Well, we'll never know unless I win.
Unless we do it.
We'll never know unless I win. I mean, that's just a fact. And so this election gives people a very clear decision, a very clear choice, crystal clear. If you want somebody who wants to fight for education every day, elect Charlie Crist and Annette Taddeo. If you want somebody who cares about our environment, elect Charlie Crist and Annette Taddeo. If you want somebody who has a heart again, elect Charlie Crist and Annette Taddeo. If you want somebody who believes in high-speed rail and moving forward to the future, elect Charlie Crist and Annette Taddeo. This is not a difficult election. It's an easy decision. We just have to get out there and vote. It's on us now.
Okay. You mentioned Annette Taddeo. A lot of people don't know her here in Central Florida.
You're going to help them get to know her, Dan.
Well, I'm going to interview her, as soon as we're done here.
Yeah.
What was the selection process like when you picked her? I know that she has a fantastic background in the Democratic Party.
Phenomenal.
And
She's a wonderful
she's
person.
a tremendous role model for Hispanics.
She's great. She's not only a tremendous role model for Hispanics, but for all people. She is just a good, decent human being. She's a working mom, well-educated, small business owner, just a great person who cares deeply about our Florida and our Florida's future. And the best thing about her is that she's got a wonderful heart. And the decision really came down to that for me. And that's why I was so grateful when she said yes. And I think we're going to be a great ticket together and hopefully great public servants together.
Great.
God willing.
Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we sign off?
I think you hit it all.
Yeah?
Just thank you for your time.
Okay, Charlie, thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you,
it was an honor and a pleasure to have you here today. Thank you so much.
The pleasure was mine. Thank you so much.
This is Danny Ramos. Be right back.
Are you proud to be Hispanic? Hispanics in Florida now have the first Hispanic car license plate in the United States. Be a proud Hispanic.
Put the Hispanic plate on your car.
I want to be a doctor.
I want to be a scientist.
I want to be an engineer. I want to be a police officer. I want to be a professional dancer.
By getting the Hispanic plate for your car,
you will support scholarships and community programs. The Hispanic plate is available at any Department of Motor Vehicle office.
Call now at 321-277-0850 or visit HispanicAchievers.org.
Before I became a graphic designer, I thought I only needed to master the software.
The computer can only do so much.
But at Sanford Brown, Ms. McCarthy helped me develop my eye for design. She even shared her own professional experiences.
The adventures of a real-life graphic designer.
Prepare for your future career as a graphic designer at Sanford Brown College. Call 877-918-6444 now for your Career Builder Career Guide. That's 877-918-6444.
Hi, I'm Jose Miranda. This is Hispanic Speak Out. We're speaking politics. In the next few hours, we're going to bring you some really top-notch candidates. Tonight, I'm being joined by the one and only Tina Carabello, and she's running for, you're running for the judgeship. What district?
Orange County Court Judge, Group 10.
Okay. Are you feeling okay? Why are you running for judgeship?
Well, that's a great question. I'm totally committed to serving the citizens of Orange County and all the litigants that utilize our court system, and I have a unique set of personal and professional qualifications that I think will be a real asset to the bench.
Okay. Tell me what you've been into. I know you've been around for well over 16 years doing this business of law, so tell me.
Well, prior to that, I'm a native Floridian, and I graduated from Sanford High School just down the road. And even before I finished high school, I enlisted in the United States Army. And I went away right after.
Thank you for serving, by the way.
Oh, thank you. And so I went to the Army right after graduation, and I served for almost 10 years. I was with the 1st Infantry Division during Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. And I had the good fortune of meeting my husband of 27, almost 28 years now, in my first duty station.
Outstanding.
Yeah, they always say if the Army would have wanted you to have a spouse, they would have issued you one. And I feel like they did, because I met him on my first day. And so, and we've raised 2 wonderful children here in Central Florida. They're 21 and 25 now. And then after I left the service, he stayed in for 24 years. I moved to Gainesville with the boys. I finished my bachelor's degree, finished law school at the University of Florida, and I've been practicing in Orange County since my admittance in 1999.
Great. What are you going to bring to the bench?
I'm going to bring to the bench impartiality and fairness, and I'm going to treat everyone with respect and dignity. I think that the leadership training that I gained in the military, as well as my administrative experience and managerial experience in running my own practice, I think those things will be a real asset to the bench and help me manage my caseload and efficiently and effectively allocate the scarce resources of not only the court system, but the litigants and the attorneys who appear in front of me.
All right. Tell us how we can reach you, how we can support you.
Thanks. So you can reach me at, my phone number is 407-601-5006, and my website is caraballoforjudge.com, and my email address is caraballoforjudge@yahoo.com.
You got about 30 seconds. What do you want that? What else do you want them to know?
I want you to know that I'm committed to serving you. I bring a unique skill set to the bench, and I will be the best representative that you have had in this position.
I'm Jose Miranda, and this is Politics. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is German Taveras, and recently I made the decision to run for Kissimmee City Commissioner C2 to provide the residents and voters a different voice and a new direction. My vision has Kissimmee becoming one of the greatest cities that provide exceptional employment opportunity with high wages, exceptional educational opportunity for our children, and environmental beauty that the world will envy, while becoming one of the most driven economy in the state of Florida. In order for change to occur in our local politics, we need you, the residents and voters of Kissimmee and Osceola County, to elect a leader who's going to be accessible to you guys, and I am that leader.
Hello, this is Maria Padilla, and I'm here today with Eddie Fernandez, who's Orange County Clerk of the Court. And today we're going to talk about whether or not Orange County residents have unclaimed checks that they may need to find out about. Is that right, Eddie?
Well, that's right, Maria. One of the things that we're working on really hard right now is making sure the public knows that we have thousands of checks at our office that have been unclaimed, that have not been cashed. So we're making sure that folks hear about this. It's a last-ditch effort for us because September 1st is the deadline. Any check that isn't cashed by September 1st, not only does that person lose it, but the county itself loses it.
And how much money are you talking about that you have unclaimed?
Well, the checks range in value from about $15 to $2,500. So there's certainly a disparate amount of value in checks. It's over $100,000 that we have at the disposal of our residents. It's over 2,000 checks, individual checks that have not been cashed. So we want to make sure people hear about it, and that's why I'm here today to talk to you and the viewers today, Maria, to make sure that people know that what they need to do is go to our website, myorangeclerk.com. At the very top right, they will see a link that says unclaimed checks. Once they enter the list, they should scan for their names, their family, their neighbors,
Everybody.
and friends. Everybody. It's a great little present to find some money for yourself.
How is it that people have unclaimed money? I mean, how does that happen?
Well, there's the truth is we don't know why they don't cash them. We have some suspicions. Those include, for example, maybe they moved right after we mailed the check and it went to a bad address. Maybe it was a low-dollar check and somebody threw it in a drawer and said, "When I get to it, I'll cash it," and they forgot about it. Other things, sometimes it's lost in the mail. It doesn't get to the person, and sometimes it's just it was a bad address to begin with. The court system, for whatever reason, had an incorrect address. So, for example, maybe somebody paid a ticket, and then it was found that they overpaid or didn't have to pay the ticket for whatever reason. That money should be refunded to them. So we want to make sure people find their money.
These are checks then that could have gone out to a person and maybe not exactly found its destination, or perhaps you received it, forgot about it, put it in a drawer somewhere?
You got it. And what's really important about this is many of these checks, in fact, I dare say the majority of these checks are people who came in and performed their civic duty as jurors. And when we cut them the check from my office, unfortunately, they didn't think to cash it, or forgot about it, or it got lost. So for that particular reason, it's people who've performed their civic duty, and we're trying to get them paid.
And the reason why the September deadline, and what is the date again? September 1st
is in fact, it has to be before September 1st. So the last day of this month of August will be the last day to cash the checks.
The reason why you have this deadline is because you do this every year?
That's exactly right. We actually, I've structured it right now, so we actually maximize the amount of time the checks are live. So that means that these are 2012 checks. We gave them all of 2013 to cash them. In fact, and so now in 2014 we have to purge, and it goes to a statewide fund for clerks' offices if it's not cashed by the last day of August this year. So these are all our 2012 checks. We're making this last-ditch effort, and that's why we're here today to talk to you and the viewers, Mary.
So if folks do not get this money, do not claim their money, then it is gone forever to the state?
Forever and ever and ever. Yes. So that's why I want to make sure, again, it's myorangeclerk.com. Top right, unclaimed checks. Look through the list. It's lengthy, but it's in alphabetical order, so it won't take too long.
There you have it. Check it out, myorangeclerk.com. See if you have any unclaimed money, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I've always had my own style.
Yes, she definitely had style.
But in fashion merchandising at Sanford Brown, I learned how to make it a career from industry professionals like Miss Cooper, who was really supportive.
Textiles, design, marketing. We teach real fashion skills and the business of fashion.
I wanted a career in fashion, and Sanford Brown helped make it possible.
Get started on your future career in fashion at Sanford Brown College. Call 877-751-9111 now for your Career Builder Career Guide. That's 877-751-9111.
Welcome back to Hispanic SpeakOut TV. I'm your co-host, Jason Henry, and I'm here with candidate Donna Gerner, who's running for judge. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to sit here and talk about your campaign, but obviously the first question I want to ask is, why are you running for judge? You have a successful law practice. Why jump out of that and into this world?
Well, for me, it's more of a continuation of my service to the community. As you're aware, I was a prosecutor for almost 12 years. I've been in private practice since 2007, where I've worked on the other side as a defense attorney. And having done all of that all across Central Florida, I feel like the next step in continuing to serve my community would be best served as a judge on the bench.
Okay. Now, you mentioned your background, that you've been a prosecutor for a while, and you did some commentating work as well in the past. So what led you to become a lawyer? What led you down that road to want to explore a career in law?
Well, I will tell you, like I told somebody earlier today, When I was little, my parents had me at the dining room table and said, what do you want to be when you grow up, a doctor, a lawyer, or a dentist? And I said a lawyer, and
So
they
they
said,
gave you
we'll
three
see.
choices.
That's it. They gave me those 3 choices, and that's what I picked, and I stuck to it.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, obviously you've been enjoying your time as a lawyer.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So what's one of the most rewarding things that you get out of practicing law? Like what is something that gets you going every single day that say, I'm enjoying being a lawyer, this is one of the things that I'm enjoying about doing it?
Going into the courtroom, you know, some people get an adrenaline rush from jumping out of a plane. I get an adrenaline rush from being inside the courtroom, and just dealing with cases and dealing with the law, dealing with legal issues. I mean, you know, so much so that I became an expert in criminal trial law. I mean, that's how much I love it. That's how much I'm dedicated to it. I just love the law, and I love being able to know just the finer little aspects and points, and there's always something new to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that you're from Jacksonville.
Yes.
How has your background shaped kind of not necessarily your political view, but your background growing up in Jacksonville? How has that shaped you, I guess, as a lawyer?
Well, you know, one of the other reasons that I wanted to become a lawyer and go to law school is I wanted to make sure that nobody ever took advantage of my lack of knowledge. And one of the things about knowing the law and being in the law is that you learn to think critically, you learn to ask questions. You don't just lay down and take no for an answer when you know that there's something else that's out there. If something doesn't seem right to you, there's a reason that it doesn't seem right to you. And so you go and you research the issues. And I think that's one of the things that law school taught me to do, was to look for the answers and to make sure that I know it for myself and I don't just take it because somebody said it so.
Absolutely. Because usually when people say that they're listening to respond, not necessarily to actually hear and listen what you're trying to say.
And that's one of the things I've done with my campaign. I've asked the voters, don't just take these, you know, the candidates at their word. Go do the research yourself. Look up the qualifications, look up the experience. Just because somebody says they're experienced and says they have integrity and says all of that, go look it up for yourself, because it's all out there. It's on the Florida Bar's website. There's a wealth of information out there, but you have to know what to look for and what questions to ask.
Now, you have a pretty crowded race.
Yes.
With two others. I'm not going to mention them by name.
Right.
But there are 2 others in your race. What kind of separates you from those 2?
Well, as I said, I'm the only person in my race who's a board-certified criminal trial expert. I'm the only person in my race who's a board-certified expert in any area of law. I've also tried more than 100 jury trials, which is more than the both of them combined.
Okay.
I just completed my training in family mediation so that I can become a family mediator certified by the Florida Supreme Court. I have 30 more credits to go for that. But those are the 2 chief things that set me apart from them. I've been endorsed by the Orlando Sentinel, by the Puerto Rican Bar Association, and by Bill Mick Live Radio Show over in Melbourne.
All right. So there's a lot going on in this race.
There is a lot going on in
this
race.
if your race is in Seminole County.
Yes, Seminole and Brevard.
If voters in Seminole and Brevard want to find out more about you, how do they do that?
They can go to www.donnagerner, G-O-E-R-N-E-R 4 F-O-R Judge.com.
That's a mouthful. You
I
don't
know.
want to say that again.
That's www.donna, D-O-N-N-A, Gerner, G-O-E-R-N-E-R 4 F-O-R Judge.com. Or send me an email at donna4judge@gmail, and that's Donna, the number 4, judge@gmail.com.
Absolutely. Well, Ms. Garner, good luck to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. This was a very interesting conversation. I wish we could have kept this going.
I know, right?
A few more questions for you, but maybe next time.
All right.
Next time.
Well, thank you again.
Again, this is Jason Henry. Stay tuned for more Hispanic Speak Out TV.
Hi, my name is German Taveras, and recently I made the decision to run for Kissimmee City Commissioner C2 to provide the residents and voters a different voice and a new direction. My vision has Kissimmee becoming one of the greatest cities that provide exceptional employment opportunity with high wages, exceptional educational opportunity for our children, and environmental beauty that the world will envy, while becoming one of the most driven economy in the state of Florida. In order for change to occur in our local politics, we need you, the residents and voters of Kissimmee and Osceola County, to elect a leader who's going to be accessible to you guys, and I am that leader.
Hi, I'm Jose Miranda. This is Hispanic Speak Out. Tonight we're speaking with Dolores Guzman, and she is an advocate in the neighborhood, in the community, and she has something she wants our listeners to know.
Mi querido pueblo latino, quiero hablarles de lo más profundo de mi corazón. Muchos políticos dicen que este no es nuestro país, que nos debemos regresar de donde vinimos. Sin embargo, de la única manera que nos podemos hacer valer, respetar y contar es con nuestro voto. Tenemos que demostrarles a los políticos de esta nación que la comunidad hispana dirá presente en las elecciones 2014. Estas elecciones son muy importantes porque nuestras vidas diarias dependen de las leyes que nuestros políticos electos ejercen a diario en nuestras ciudades, condados y estados. Te invito a que como parte del sueño americano al que aspiramos todos, es que votes en las elecciones primarias en agosto 26 y en las elecciones generales en noviembre 4. Si no estás inscrito para votar, visita a tu oficina más cercana de elecciones, de supervisor de elecciones, tu oficina de tu partido preferido o tu biblioteca local. Para ejercer un voto inteligente, conoce a tus candidatos locales. Ellos son los portavoces en tu ciudad y tu condado. Inscríbete a Latino, infórmate, mi gente, y vota, es tu derecho. Mi nombre es Dolores Guzmán, activista latina. Si necesitas mi ayuda, llama al 407-314-4007.
What else can I tell you,
Gracias.
folks? This is Hispanic Speak Out.
Welcome back into Hispanic Speak Out TV. I'm Jason Henry, and I'm here with the incomparable Jose Miranda.
Thank you, bro.
How's it going, man?
Good, man.
So the topic that we're introducing tonight is civil rights. Have we made any progress, not even over the last 50 years, have we made any progress as of late as it pertains to civil rights?
It doesn't appear so. If you look at the TV lately, we've had incidences in New York, and of course we've had incidents in I think Missouri, and it seems that the pendulum of law and order has swung to the right.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that we're losing it, but I also think it's a lack of civility also, not just with law enforcement and more training possibly, but in those folks in the neighborhood who are not going to abide by the basic rules.
Now, let me ask you this. You're a former cop.
Yeah.
I think it's in New Mexico where they're outfitting some of the officers with cameras, maybe either on their lapel or their uniform somewhere. Do you think that's a good idea to maybe curb some of what's happening now, or is that maybe an invasion upon, what cops have to do on a daily basis, which is to protect and serve?
It's a kind of double-edged sword, because if I want to cut somebody some slack for something really just stupid, I won't be able to because it's on camera.
True.
I'm going to have to justify to somebody playing Monday quarterback that it was justified even though it was an infraction of the law.
So you think that that would insert kind of a zero tolerance policy across the board?
Definitely, it has to be zero because it'll be straight up by the book.
You think that's a good thing or a bad thing, though? Because maybe in large instances like this, like, you mentioned the shooting in Missouri with Michael Brown, we would maybe have evidence of what happened.
Sure.
So maybe the riots wouldn't have happened because the video maybe would have been released and we could have seen what happened. But in a case where maybe someone's jaywalking and the officer sees it and he thinks, I have a camera on me and I really need to go and maybe arrest this person.
Right.
What should we do?
There are laws on the books that we can't actually enforce. I mean, they're like, I don't call them petty, but they're more or less nuisance laws to garner in other things, like an open container law.
Yeah.
Is you can use it to keep away people who are using drugs, who are selling drugs. Because of the open container, you can't be here. I'm going to lock you up. I'm going to take you out of your business stance. So it has, like I said, a double-edged sword. And we could talk about it.
So this is basically a setup for a show that we're going to do next week on civil rights. This is obviously a topic that we can talk about all night, specifically with Jose, since he has kind of insider knowledge on how cops feel in circumstances like this. So again, this is Jason Henry for Hispanic Speak Out TV, and he's Jose Miranda for Hispanic Speak Out TV again. So we will see you next week. Have a good one.